Hey there, so calorie deficit. So I'm just going to go through the principle of what a calorific deficit is, why we need that to create fat loss, and how you can ensure that you are doing that. So what I always like to explain with a deficit of calories is where your calories should be. So if you go on any sort of NHS, government guidelines, what they will probably say is, for a man, we'll call that man, it's usually 2,500, and for a woman or a female, it's going to be about the 2,000 mark, okay? But that presents some fundamental problems, and the problems are that on a wide scale, for most people it won't be that far off the mark, but on an individual basis, it could be completely the wrong end of the spectrum. So we need to determine, based on your daily activity, your non-exercise activity thermogenesis, the thermic effect of food, your basal metabolic rate, all these other factors, how active you are and how many calories you actually need. So this line here, if we say that this is maintenance, messy handwriting, sign of intelligence. Alright, so if we say that maintenance, for example, if we're using a lady, is 2,000 calories, then what we need to do is we need to determine where the calorific deficit needs to come from for you on an individual basis. So what we would do is we'd start with what I call a modest deficit of calories. Okay, so 2,000, we're using that because it's a nice round number, it's easy to do. If, for example, you are starting with a 10% deficit, that would be 200 calories. Okay, so all we would do is you would use a calorie tracking app, MyFitnessPal, NutriCheck, Cows and Carbs, something like that, to track your calories each day and make sure that you stayed around the 1,800 mark. So what that is doing is creating a deficit of energy of 10% per day. So what we would do is we would do that for roughly a week, maybe 2 weeks, and see how you feel, how you operate, if you're tired, if you're hungry, if your workouts are good, and see what happens on the scales, see what happens to your lifts, if you're tracking performance, and if this is okay, and you receive results such as, we just put weight loss, inch loss, and feeling less bloated, more energy, let's put lower body fat percentage, then you don't change anything, okay? The week after, you go again, or the following fortnight, you go again. If this stops, what this might mean is that because your mass has changed and the composition of your body has changed, that you might require less calories, okay, or a bigger calorific deficit. And that's the basic principle of it. If we went the other way and you had a 10% surplus and you were eating 2,200 calories and that was too much, then the opposite effect would occur. You would gain weight, you would gain inches, you might feel more lethargic, you might feel more bloated because you're eating more than your body actually requires. So that's the most basic way to explain your calories and where you need to be. So if you're trying to maintain your weight, we need to be at maintenance, whatever that is, you have to work that out on an individual basis, okay? Hire a coach, go on calorie tracking apps, search it in Google. There's lots of free calculators out there that can work this out for you. There's about 4 or 5 different equations that people use, so you'll get a different result each time, but don't worry too much about that. You'll be somewhere on the money, if that makes sense. Alright? So if you can do that and you can stick to this formula in a very basic way, then you should be able to get the results that you want. Hope it helps. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notifications, make sure that you know when we're going on. If you've got any questions, anything that you want us to cover, then drop us a message on the page and we'll do that for you. Cheers.